Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I think this is going to be the teen series part 7, and we are going to talk about your attitude and your behavior. Now, I've noticed that people who've got bad attitude and bad behavior normally starts from home when they are small, and because their parents don't pay attention to it, they become worse when they get to their teens, and they get even more worse when they get to their adult stage. So it's something that I want to address in this video, and I'm going to tell you the do's and the don'ts and how Christ expects us to behave and what type of attitude he expects us to have. So let's get straight into it. Now, because every single child that is born with sin, okay, from the very beginning, due to Adam and Eve, every child is born with sin. So as a result of that, when children are growing up, they don't really know the right thing to do. They always do the wrong thing. They don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to treat people. And it's obviously up to the parents to correct that and tell the child what is right, what is wrong, what attitude is acceptable and what attitude is not acceptable. Now, for those of you who were not trained to respect people, or you weren't trained on what is right and what is wrong and how to treat people, I'm going to address that in this video. Now, if you've obviously been following my channel, you know that I always have notes, so if I'm looking down, you guys know what I am looking at. So if you go to the book of Galatians chapter 5 verse 22, Jesus Christ has given us a list of the type of attitude and behavior he expects us to have. Now, if you don't know what's in that place, it is the fruit of the Spirit, and I'm just going to list them out for you. So one of the fruits of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, and yeah, that's pretty much it. If a lot of people had these fruit of the Spirit, the world would be a better place. Now, there are some people who are not Christians and they have some of these fruits, and then there are some people who are Christians and they don't have any of these fruits, which is not a good thing. Now, you might be wondering how the fruit of the Spirit relates to people's attitude and behavior, and I'm going to break this thing down for you guys. So the first fruit of the Spirit is peace. Now, there's a particular place in the Bible, I think I'm going to write the scripture somewhere in the screen. It says, out of everything that you pursue in this world, pursue peace. Okay? If you are someone who've got peace in the inside of you, or if you're pursuing peace, you will avoid a lot of arguments. There are some people who are so argumentative. Like, there are some things you don't need to argue about. Like, just jump to a conclusion and that's it. You don't need to argue about every single thing. Most especially ladies, there are some people who are going to trigger you because they know that they know what triggers you and they know what gets you angry. You just have to learn to overlook things and move on with your life. I remember there was a time when I was in a relationship and one of the guys said to me, you're very simple, you don't argue, we don't argue about anything. And I was like, what's there to argue about? If you don't like something and I like something, it's cool. We'll find a way to jump to conclusion and move on. We don't have to argue. A peaceful relationship is something that you can't buy. So one of the fruits is peace. If you have peace in the inside of you, you're not going to be an argumentative person. And that also comes down to attitude. There are some people, you tell them one thing and they just like to argue about it. They want to know that they're right. They're not going to stop until you come to a conclusion that they're right, even though they are wrong. That is not a good attitude. It's not something that Christ likes. Another fruit that is listed here that is also part of your attitude is patience. If you're someone who's patient, you will avoid getting angry, because there are some people, when they're angry, they break things, they destroy things. That is lack of patience. Now, if you're someone who's got patience, you would avoid getting angry at every little thing. You'll avoid getting angry at things that are not even worth thinking about, okay? Because some people, when they get angry, they like to destroy things. They like to ruin things. I don't want to hear anyone tell me that, I have anger management problem, this and that. No, that's not on. If you're going to the Queen's Palace here, you're not going to destroy the Queen stuff if she insults you. You're going to learn to suck it up and deal with it and move on, because you know that you're in a palace right now. And that's how it is in your day-to-day life. You should have patience. If you are a child of God, patience should be part of you. There are some people, they're not even Christians, and they have patience, okay? And those are the kind of people you see them work in childcare, you see them as a childminder, as a teacher. Them kind of jobs, you need patience. It's not a gift, it's a fruit, it's something that should be part of your attitude. Another fruit here is faithfulness. A lot of marriages are destroyed because their partner are not faithful. Some of us, we're not even faithful to God. We're still going out there visiting some voodoo, juju and all that kind of stuff. But if there's faithfulness in the inside of you, it would avoid a lot of heartbreak out there. A lot of people, they find it really hard to trust people because of faithfulness. Another place where faithfulness should be practiced is in your workplace. Let me give you an example of myself. A few years back when I used to work in a restaurant, right? We used to give out this loyalty card. Like if you are someone who buys a lot of coffee, you get a loyalty card, and then I think you get like a free bagel. So what I used to do, I used to take all the vouchers and I used to keep them to myself. And I would go to another branch in another county, and I would go into that other branch like I'm a customer, even though I work for that company, but they wouldn't know because I don't work in that branch. And I would use those vouchers there until one time the Holy Spirit ministered to me and said, this is wrong. You're not being faithful to the company. Even though I didn't get caught on camera, even though I didn't get caught at all, but you know, the Holy Spirit, the inside of me was just like, nah, this is wrong. This is not loyalty. And there'll be a time where you want to set up a business and you would want most of your staff to be loyal. You won't want them to cheat on you. You don't want them to rob your money. You don't want them to rob your outfit. I've worked in retail stores where some of the customers would rob the outfit in the store and the manager wouldn't know. And just because your manager doesn't know doesn't mean that God doesn't see you. Like, God still sees you. So being faithful applies to everyone, not just people who are Christians, but even people who are not Christians. Even when you're going on the bus, yeah? Because there was a time where I would lie to the driver that I'm a child so I can get like the cheaper fare instead of the adult fare. And one time the Holy Spirit just ministered to me and said that, look, you're not a child, you're an adult, to pay the adult fare. Okay, it's wrong for you to do that. So be faithful to every single person around you. I've noticed that people who cheat on people in relationships, they don't communicate to their partner that they don't want to be with them anymore. Instead, they mess around. That's not good. If you know you're not going to be faithful to someone, make it clear from the beginning. Look, I'm not going to be faithful to you. I don't want to be with you anymore. Please leave me alone and let me be. Instead of dragging somebody along and hurting someone behind their back, and then they find out, and then they find it hard to trust the next person that they come across. Just be faithful. Another fruit here is self-control. A lot of reasons why people get raped these days is because some guys don't have self-control. That's why it's a fruit of the Spirit. If you have self-control, you will learn how to control yourself sexually and in every other area of your life. And you lack self-control, you make costly mistakes. Not just any mistake, costly mistakes. I know a woman, and her sex drive is so high that right now she's got 4 kids for different types of dads. That is a costly mistake. It's a costly mistake. And I know some of you might say, well, children are a blessing. Yes, they're a blessing when it's done the right way, in the right place. You know what I mean? In the context of marriage. But she's single, 4 kids, 4 different types of dads. I mean, I don't know, like those kids will grow up one day and they'll just wonder, like, what happened to mom? Like, how did you even land in this situation? You know what I mean? So things like that, you need to avoid that. And the only way you can avoid that is to have self-control. You need to control yourself. There are people who are going to get you angry. I mean, that's the truth. There are people who are going to tempt you. You're going to face temptation, but you have to learn to discipline yourself and control yourself. One thing that I heard Devon Franklin say was that if you can control yourself sexually, you can control yourself in every other area of your life, which is true, because sexual desires come from your flesh. Even if someone doesn't tempt you, you can can actually tempt yourself sexually. So it's important to be able to control yourself. And one more thing about self-control, just for the guys, there was a boy in the Bible. This is the parable of the prodigal son, and I might leave the scripture somewhere on the screen. And his dad was really, really rich, and his dad gave him half of his property, and he decided to leave the house without telling his dad, take half of his dad's property, the one that his dad gave him, and the money, and decided to live somewhere else and spend his money on women, on prostitutes, and things that were not even necessary, things that were not important. And at the end of the day, he was broke, and then famine kicked in. And the reason why that happened was due to lack of self-control. Some people, when they see like £500 in their bank account, their head is swollen, and then they begin to spend it on things that are unnecessary, things that are not even important, and before you know it, that bank account is back to 0.00. So self-control, you need it in every single area of your life. When it comes to work, when it comes to relationship, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to business, you need self-control. Even in church, as a pastor, you got to learn how to control yourself, because there are people in the church that like to trigger their pastors, like to get the pastor's wife angry. So you need it in every area of your life. The next fruit here is love. Some people don't know how to love other people, and I'm not talking about being committed to someone, but just, smile to people, be nice to people, be kind to people, be compassionate to people. I'll tell you how you know. Let me explain to you why a lot of people lack love. You see a lot of countries, they go through war because they lack love. They don't love the people in the country. They just want power. They just want to be in a high position. They want to be honored. They want to be respected. If they love the people in their country, they will make the country a better place. One time, my mom was watching like the Nigerian news. If you don't know me, my background is Nigeria. So obviously both my parents are Nigerian. She was watching the news, and they were showing like the poor side of it, and some people were eating from the bin, and some people were eating trash on the road. And I said to my mom, I said, that's lack of love, because if the president loved the people in the country, you will look for a way to make the country a better place. But because a lot of people who are in high position, they lack love, people are suffering, people are poor. So love is a fruit. When Christ came on this earth, the reason why he was able to heal people, the reason why he died for us, was because he loved us. That was it. If he didn't love us, he wouldn't do it for us. So it's important to love people. Be compassionate towards people. Put yourself in other people's shoe. Be considerate. When you love someone, you learn how to respect them. Respect and love are like brothers and sisters. It comes together. You can't tell me you love someone and you talk to them like trash. You treat them like they're rubbish. You treat them like they're nobodies. Nah, that's not love. If you love someone, you respect them, period. Another fruit here is gentleness. There are some people, they talk to people so harshly. Now, we're all different, right? Some people are really, really sensitive to words. Some people are really, really sensitive to your tone. And you need to be conscious about that. It's not what you say, but it's how you say it and the tone that you set in. There are some people, they don't like talking to other people because the way they talk is so harsh. They don't know how to talk with compassion. They don't know how to talk in a very gentle way. Everything about them is loud. You have to be really sensitive to what you say to people and how you say it to people, because how you say it, some people might translate that in different ways. If you tell someone, I love you, they're gonna be like, okay, all right, cool. But if you tell someone, I really, really love you, that goes a long way, you know. I'm saying the same thing, but the tone is different. You know what I mean? My expression is different. So you have to be really, really sensitive on how you say things, the way you say it, and the tone that you put out there. A lot of married couples, you know, they get angry at each other, not because of what they do or what they're saying, but the tone. The tone is the problem, especially women. I'm gonna have to be honest, women fall a victim of this. Is they say things so harshly, and you know, sometimes if there's some women, they talk to their husband in a very, very harsh way. There's nothing wrong with what they're saying, but the tone is just disrespect. Like, it's not nice. And if you want someone to do something for you, your tone matters. I can say, yo, please get that thing done for me now. And that person is going to be very, very rude to me. But if I say, you know, is it okay if you can help me do this thing right now, because I'm quite busy trying to get this thing done, and it would be really, really nice if you can just help me. Then the person would feel like, okay, you know what, let me help you out, because of the tone. Okay, so that comes down to a gentle spirit. So you're probably wondering, how can I have all these fruits? You can only have these fruits when you have a relationship with God. Okay, because if you read that Galatians chapter 5, right, and there's a bit where Paul said, what my flesh wants to do is contrary to what my spirit wants to do. And I'm going to give you an example of this. There was a time in primary school, when I was really young in primary school, I was a bully. I was a bad girl. I was a bully. And there was a girl, we were in art class, and she walked past me. Like, you know, in art class in primary school, you have like a jar of water on the table with your paintbrushes and your paint. And this girl walked past me. She took the jar of water and she poured it on me and all over my uniform. And my uniform was wet. And everyone in my class was like, Dammy, knock her out, knock her out, knock her out. And my flesh, I just want to beat this girl up. So while I was walking out of class, you know how it is in primary school, they try to push you into the person, you know, just to trigger you, like just to knock the person out. So when they were pushing me into her, then she responded to me in a very bad attitude, and then I started beating her up. And I beat her up to the point that she was crying. She reported me to the teacher. She reported me to the principal. So I felt good that I beat her up. But when I got home, I felt so guilty. I felt so bad, because I'm not the type of person that likes to beat people up. Back then, if you offend me, yeah. But now, thank God for the Holy Spirit, that has changed. But I felt so bad for doing that, and I wanted to apologize to her, but I didn't apologize to her because she already reported me to the principal. Like, basically, I think I was so close to suspension, and then I was suspended. So when I found out that I was suspended, I was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna apologize to you. But the thing is this, my flesh wants to fight back, but the Spirit of God on the inside of me is like, nah. But my flesh is like, yeah, you need to beat her up. But the Spirit of God is like, nah, you don't need to do that. So that's what Paul is trying to say, that what my flesh wants is different to what my spirit wants. There are people who will get you so angry, you feel like you want to beat them up. There are people, you just want to give them a slap for insulting you, and your flesh just wants to, you know, you just want to do something so violent, but the Spirit of God is like, nah. And one thing I've noticed now that I've grown and God is molding me and changing me is that the best revenge is love. Trust me, the best revenge is love. If I didn't beat that girl up at that time and I just left it like that, do you know that she would go home and feel so guilty for pouring water on me? She would feel like that, even though I might not know, her actions might not say anything about it, but she would feel really, really guilty for doing that to me. And who knows, maybe she might just apologize to me and say, you know what, I'm really, really sorry. But when you do something bad to someone and that person also replies back in a bad way, then no one's going to feel guilty about it. The best revenge is love. If someone has done something bad to you, let them know that, look, what you've done, I don't like it, and I don't take that kind of nonsense. And you're lucky that I'm not somebody who's going to beat you up straight away. And that's it. Leave it like that and walk away. And let that other person go home and think about it. Because there's one thing everybody has, whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, or you believe in Jesus or you believe in the devil, whatever it is, everyone has got a spirit of sincerity. Okay, everyone's got it. Even murderers, even people who rob and steal, these people know that what they do is wrong. There's a spirit of sincerity. There's a time where you're on your bed and this sincerity is like, look, you know what you've done is wrong, yeah, you know you shouldn't be doing this thing. Everyone's got that. So let me just end this video with this. Learn to respect people, most especially your parents. Okay, if you respect your parents, you'll be able to respect people outside. I've seen kids who curse their mom, kids who've told their mom to F off. That's not acceptable. In my house, that's not going to be acceptable. Even in my parents' house, that was never acceptable. When I was young, if I said anything rude, I'd be getting a backhand off my parents. Anyone who's brought up in an African home, like I mean a proper African to the core kind of home, you cannot talk to your parents in a disrespectful way. Like, that is not on. And I've seen kids who've kicked their mom, punched their mom. I'm just like, wow. But let me tell you something, karma exists, okay? The way you treat your mom when you grow up and you have kids, that's how your kids are going to treat you. So it's important to respect your mom. Sorry, not your mom. Respect your parents in general. Respect your siblings. Respect people out there. You don't know who your destiny helper is going to be. You don't know, maybe the person that you've been rude to back in the day might just help you in the future. So it's important to be able to respect everyone, and remember, your attitude and your behavior matters. Sometimes some people don't talk to you, or they don't like you, not because you've got a problem, but they don't like your attitude or they don't like your behavior. There's some people, they won't communicate with you, they won't do business with you, they won't talk to you, they won't play with you. And even if you're good at something, they might not recommend you to someone because of your attitude. That's how deep it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, if there's anything you want to ask me, or there's anything you want me to talk about, leave a comment. And if you want to email me, I'll leave my email in the description box. And I think that is it for today. Until my next video, guys, stay blessed and stay beautiful. Bye.